Story 1. I've worked as an emergency department receptionist at Metro General Hospital for almost 5 years now. I've seen pretty much everything you can imagine, from minor scrapes to life-threatening emergencies. But what happened last Tuesday still has the entire staff talking. I was at the front desk, checking in a mother with her sick toddler, when I heard the ambulance sirens in the distance. Nothing unusual there, we get ambulances coming in all day long. I continued entering the patient information when Dave, one of our security guards, came rushing in. "Dave, we've got a problem in the ambulance bay. Some lady parked her SUV right in the middle of it and went inside." "Me, what? In the ambulance bay? The one with all the emergency vehicles only signs and the red striped pavement?" "Dave, yep, that's the one. Ambulance is 2 minutes out with a cardiac patient." I immediately grabbed the microphone for our PAS system. "Me, attention, hospital visitors. A gray SUV with license plate HRT 247 is parked in the ambulance bay. This is an emergency vehicle zone. The owner must move it immediately as an ambulance is arriving. Gray SUV, license plate HRT 247. Please move your vehicle now." I made this announcement 3 times. By the third announcement, I could hear the ambulance sirens getting much closer. Dave was outside directing traffic, trying to figure out where the ambulance could pull up if the SUV didn't move. Just then, a woman in her mid-40s with an expensive-looking handbag approached my desk. She didn't look concerned at all, despite the increasingly loud sirens. "Woman, excuse me, I need directions to the cardiology department. I'm running late for my appointment." "Me, ma'am. Are you driving a gray SUV with license plate HRT 247? The woman looked surprised. "Woman, yes, that's mine. Why?" "Me, ma'am, you're parked in the ambulance bay. We have an ambulance arriving with a critical patient. You need to move your car immediately." She rolled her eyes dramatically. "Woman, oh please, I'll only be a minute. I'm already late for my appointment. Just tell me how to get to cardiology." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. The sirens were practically at our door by now. "Me, ma'am, this is an emergency. A patient's life could depend on this ambulance getting access. You need to move your car right now." "Woman, look, do you know who I am? My husband plays golf with your hospital administrator. I'm not going to be late to my appointment because you people can't provide adequate parking." At this point, Dave came rushing back inside. "Dave, the ambulance is here, and they can't get in. The driver says if the SUV isn't moved in the next 30 seconds, they'll have to call for a tow truck, and that could delay patient care." I looked back at the woman, who is now tapping her foot impatiently. "Me, ma'am, please. This is your last chance to move your vehicle before it gets towed." "Woman, this is ridiculous. Fine." She started digging through her handbag, taking her sweet time looking for her keys. Outside, I could see the ambulance waiting, lights flashing. The paramedics inside were probably doing everything they could to keep their patient stable. Dave's radio crackled. "Radio, security, be advised, tow truck has been dispatched. Ida, 1 minute. Dave, ma'am, a tow truck is on its way. If you don't move your car immediately, it will be towed at your expense." Woman, oh, for heaven's sake. She finally pulled out her keys, but instead of rushing outside, she continued standing there. "Woman, I still need directions to cardiology." I was about to respond when we heard more sirens. A police car pulled up alongside the ambulance, and right behind it was a tow truck. "Dave, that's it. They're towing you." The woman's eyes widened. "Woman, they can't do that. That's my car." She finally rushed toward the door, but it was too late. Through the glass entrance doors, we could see the tow truck already positioning itself behind her SUV. The woman burst outside, screaming and waving her arms. "Woman, stop. That's my car. Stop right now." A police officer intercepted her before she could reach her vehicle. "Police officer, ma'am, is this your vehicle?" Woman, yes, and they can't tow it. I was just about to move it. Police officer, Ma'am, you're parked in an emergency zone blocking an ambulance with a critical patient. That's a serious offense. Woman, I was only going to be a minute. I have an appointment. By now, the ambulance had backed up to give the tow truck space. A small crowd of patients and visitors had gathered near the entrance, watching the scene unfold. Some were even recording it on their phones. The tow truck operator worked quickly, securing the SUV to be towed. The woman was becoming increasingly frantic. Woman, this is outrageous. Do you know who my husband is? He'll have all your jobs for this. Police officer, ma'am, I need to see your license and registration. Woman, it's in my car that you're stealing. Police officer, we're not stealing it, ma'am. It's being legally towed for a serious parking violation. You're blocking emergency services. The woman tried to approach her car again, but the police officer held her back. By now, the tow truck had lifted the front of her SUV off the ground. Woman, where are they taking it? I demand to know where they're taking my car. Police officer, to the city impound. You can retrieve it there after paying the fine, which, I should mention, starts at $500 for blocking an emergency vehicle access point. The woman's face went pale. Woman, $500? That's highway robbery. Police officer, ma'am, you're lucky you're not facing criminal charges for endangering a patient's life. As the tow truck began to pull away with her SUV, the ambulance finally pulled into its proper spot. The back doors burst open, and paramedics rushed out with a stretcher carrying an elderly man with an oxygen mask. They hurried past the woman, who stood there with her mouth hanging open. The police officer handed her a ticket. Police officer, here's your citation. The address of the impound lot is at the bottom. Woman, but how am I supposed to get to my appointment now? And how will I get to the impound lot? Police officer, I suggest you call a cab, ma'am. The woman looked around, seeming to finally notice the crowd of people watching her. Some were shaking their heads, others were openly glaring at her. A few were still recording the whole thing on their phones. Defeated, she stomped back into the hospital lobby. Her face was bright red as she approached my desk again. Woman, I need to use your phone. Me, the public phones are over there, ma'am. I pointed to the row of pay phones against the wall. She looked like she was about to argue, but then thought better of it and walked away. Later that day, I heard from one of the nurses that the patient in the ambulance had suffered a severe heart attack. The paramedics told her that the 4-minute delay caused by the blocked ambulance bay had been critical, but thankfully they'd managed to keep him stable. He was now recovering in the ICU. The next morning, our hospital administrator, Dr. Patterson, came by the front desk. Dr. Patterson, I heard there was some excitement here yesterday. Me, yes, sir. Someone parked in the ambulance bay and refused to move their car. Dr. Patterson, I got a very angry phone call last night from someone claiming to be a good friend of mine, demanding that the hospital pay for the towing and fine. Me, oh, what did you tell them? Dr. Patterson smiled. Dr. Patterson, I told them I don't play golf with anyone who would endanger a patient's life for the sake of a parking spot. Word got around the hospital quickly, and the incident became something of a legend. We even printed out one of the clearer photos a visitor had taken and posted it in the break room with a caption. No emergency is as important as her appointment. It's been 2 weeks, and I haven't seen that gray SUV anywhere near our ambulance bay since. I guess some lessons are expensive to learn. Story 2. I've been a huge fan of the Electric Minds for years. They're not mainstream famous, but they have a dedicated following, and I've been saving up for months to buy a front-row ticket to their show at the Harmony Hall. These tickets are hard to get, they sell out in minutes, but I managed to snag one by setting multiple alarms and camping on the ticket website the second they went on sale. The day of the concert finally arrived, and I was beyond excited. I showed up early, about 2 hours before the doors opened, and there was already a line forming. I didn't mind the wait. The atmosphere was great, with other fans chatting about favorite songs and previous concerts. About an hour before doors opened, I was checking my phone to make sure my ticket was loaded in the app when a woman in her 40s with a blonde bob haircut approached me. She wasn't dressed like most fans, she was wearing what looked like office clothes, while most of us were in band t-shirts or casual concert wear. Karen, excuse me, are you here for the Electric Minds concert? Me. Yeah, I am. Karen. Great. I'm looking to buy a ticket. My daughter loves them, but I couldn't get tickets online. Are you selling yours? Me. No, sorry. I've been looking forward to this for months. She frowned and looked over my shoulder at my phone screen, where my ticket was displayed. Karen. Front row. Wow, how much did that cost? Me? A lot. Like I said, I've been saving up. Karen. Well, I'll give you double what you paid. My daughter would just die to be in the front row. I was taken aback. It was a tempting offer financially, but this concert meant a lot to me. Me. That's really generous, but no thanks. I really want to see the show. Her friendly demeanor changed instantly. Karen. Come on, be reasonable. It's just a concert. I'm offering you good money. My daughter's birthday is tomorrow, and I promised her front row tickets. Me. I'm sorry about that, but I can't help you. Maybe check online resale sites. Karen. I already did. They're all sold out or charging ridiculous prices. Me. Well, that's kind of how it works with popular shows. I tried to turn away, hoping she'd get the hint, but she stepped closer. Karen. Look, I don't think you understand. My daughter has been through a lot this year. Her father and I divorced, and she's been struggling. This would mean everything to her. I felt bad for her daughter, but also uncomfortable with how this woman was pressuring me. Me. I'm really sorry to hear that, but I can't give up my ticket. Karen. You're being incredibly selfish right now. What's wrong with you? It's just a stupid band. Now I was getting annoyed. First, the Electric Minds aren't a stupid band. Second, who is she to call me selfish for not giving a complete stranger my concert ticket? Me. Look, I said no. Please leave me alone. Karen. I'm offering you double what you paid. That's more than fair. Me. It's not about the money. The answer is no. People in line were starting to stare at us. Karen was getting louder with each exchange. Karen? Fine. Triple what you paid. That's my final offer. Me? No. Please go away. She glared at me, then suddenly her hand shot out and grabbed at my phone. I wasn't expecting it, so she managed to get hold of it for a second before I pulled it back. Me? What are you doing? Get away from me. Karen, I just want to see the ticket. Maybe I can find similar seats somewhere else. She was lying. She had clearly been trying to grab my phone to either take a screenshot of my ticket or send it to herself. Either way, it was attempted theft. A couple of people behind me in line stepped forward. Concert goer, hey, is everything okay here? Me? No, this woman just tried to grab my phone to steal my ticket. Karen, that's a lie. I was just looking. He offered to show me his seat location. Me. I absolutely did not. Karen then made another grab for my phone, but this time I was ready and pulled back. She stumbled forward, almost falling into me. Concert goer, someone get security. A guy further up the line was already waving to one of the venue staff, who had noticed the commotion and was walking over. The staff member was a tall guy with a security badge. Security, what's going on here? Before I could answer, Karen jumped in. Karen, this young man stole my daughter's ticket. I was just trying to get it back. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. Me. That's completely false. This is my ticket that I purchased months ago. She approached me trying to buy it, and when I refused, she tried to grab my phone. Security. Ma'am, do you have any proof that the ticket belongs to your daughter? Karen. Well, no, because he has it on his phone, but I can show you the confirmation email. Security, please do. Karen started frantically scrolling through her phone, but of course there was no confirmation email because she never bought a ticket. Security, ma'am. Karen, I must have deleted it by accident, but I swear I bought that ticket for my daughter. Several people in line spoke up at once. Concert goer? She's lying. We all saw her try to grab his phone. Another concert goer? Yeah, she was harassing him about buying his ticket. Karen's face turned red with anger. Karen, you're all just covering for him. This isn't fair. Security, ma'am, I'm going to need you to step away from the line. Karen, no, I'm not going anywhere until I get my daughter's ticket back. Security called for backup on his radio, and within a minute, 2 more security guards arrived. Karen was still yelling about how unfair everything was and how we were all conspiring against her. Security, ma'am, you have 2 options. You can leave the premises voluntarily, or we can escort you out. Either way, you're not staying. Karen, this is ridiculous. I want to speak to your manager. Security, I am the manager of security for this venue, and based on multiple witness accounts, you attempted to steal someone's property. We could involve the police, or you can leave now. That seemed to finally get through to her. Her face went from angry red to a paler shade. Karen, this isn't over. She stormed off toward the parking lot, throwing one last glare in my direction. The security manager turned to me. Security, are you okay? Do you want to file a report? Me. I'm fine, just a bit shaken. I don't think we need to get the police involved as long as she's gone. Security, don't worry, she is. And she's now banned from this venue. We take attempted theft very seriously. We've got cameras covering the entrance, so we have her on video too. He took my information and a brief statement about what happened, just for their records. The other people in line who had witnessed the incident backed up my account. The rest of the night went perfectly. The concert was amazing, and the front row view was everything I'd hoped for. The band even threw guitar picks to the front row between songs, and I caught one. After the show, as we were all leaving, I spotted security stopping someone at a side entrance. It was Karen, wearing sunglasses and a different jacket, trying to sneak back in. The security team immediately escorted her back out, and I heard them mention something about trespassing charges if she came back again. I still can't believe someone would try to steal a concert ticket right out of a person's hand. The sense of entitlement was unreal. But in the end, justice was served. The Electric Minds put on an incredible show, and I have a story and a guitar pick that I'll remember forever. Story 3. I've lived in my apartment complex for 3 years without any major issues. That all changed last Tuesday when I had the most bizarre encounter with a neighbor I'd never even spoken to before. I work from home, and my apartment has a perfect view of the parking lot. I was in the middle of a Zoom meeting when I heard glass shattering. At first, I ignored it, thinking it was probably just kids playing. But then I heard more commotion, so I walked to my window while still on mute. What I saw made me do a double take. A middle-aged woman with the classic, "Can I speak to your manager" haircut was standing next to my car, my fairly new blue Honda Civic that I'd only had for about 6 months. The driver's side window was completely shattered, and she was reaching inside to unlock the door. I immediately told my colleagues I had an emergency and ended the call. I grabbed my keys and phone and rushed downstairs, my heart pounding. By the time I got to the parking lot, this woman had my car door open and was sitting in the driver's seat, rummaging through my glove compartment and tossing my stuff onto the passenger seat. Excuse me, what are you doing in my car? The woman looked up at me with annoyance, like I was interrupting something important. Woman, this is my car. Go away before I call security. I was so shocked I actually looked around to make sure I wasn't losing my mind. But no, this was definitely my car. I could see the small dent on the rear bumper from when someone had backed into me at the grocery store, and my university parking permit hanging from the rearview mirror. Ma'am, This is absolutely my car. Here are my keys. Please get out right now, or I'm calling the police. I held up my key fob and pressed the lock button. The car's lights flashed, and it made the locking sound, even though the door was open. The woman's expression changed from annoyance to confusion, then back to determination. Woman, your remote must be programmed to my car by mistake. This is my Honda Civic. I've had it for years. Look, there's my registration in the glove compartment with my name on it. And that's my gym bag in the back seat. This is my car that you just broke into. She pulled out my registration, looked at it, then tossed it aside. Woman, well, someone must have put your papers in my car. I know what my car looks like. At this point, a few neighbors had come out to see what the commotion was about. My next-door neighbor stepped forward. Neighbor, that's definitely their car. I see them park it here every day. Your car is probably somewhere else in the lot. The woman was getting increasingly agitated, still sitting in my driver's seat. Woman, no, you're all trying to gaslight me. I parked right here this morning. I was getting really concerned about what else she might damage, so I took a step back and called the police. While I was on the phone, the woman finally got out of my car, but continued to insist it was hers. Then she pointed to my key fob. Woman, you've obviously cloned my car key. That's how you're able to open my car. I'm going to sue you for this. The situation was getting more ridiculous by the minute. Another neighbor approached and gently tried to reason with her. Second neighbor, ma'am, what color is your car? Woman, blue. It's a blue Honda Civic, just like this one. Second neighbor, and what year is it? Woman, it's a 2020. This is a 2022 model. Woman, no, it's not. You're all conspiring against me. Then she pulled out her own car keys and tried to use them on my car. Obviously, they didn't work, which only made her more frustrated. She started examining the car more closely and then pointed at a small scratch near the door handle. Woman, see? There's the scratch my son made last month. This is my car. By this point, I was just recording everything on my phone. About 10 minutes later, which felt like an eternity, 2 police officers arrived. I explained the situation, showed them my registration and insurance, and demonstrated that my key worked on the car. One officer spoke with the woman while the other talked to me. I could hear her getting louder and more insistent. Woman, officer, this person has somehow copied my car key and is trying to steal my vehicle. I want them arrested immediately. The officer talking to her was remarkably patient. Officer, ma'am, do you have any proof that this is your vehicle? Registration? Insurance papers? Woman, they're at home, but I know what my car looks like. Officer, can you tell me your license plate number? The woman hesitated, then gave a number that wasn't even close to mine. The officer checked it in their system. Officer, ma'am, according to our records, you own a 2018 silver Toyota Camry, not a blue Honda Civic. Her face went completely blank for a moment, then switched to outrage. Woman, well, your system is wrong. I know what car I drive. The officers asked her for her ID, which she reluctantly provided. They ran her information and then walked around the parking lot with her. About 5 minutes later, they found her silver Toyota Camry parked on the opposite side of the lot. Instead of apologizing or showing any embarrassment, she pointed at me and started yelling. Woman, they must have moved my car to confuse me. I demand an apology from them for this inconvenience. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. She wanted me to apologize. After breaking my window and ransacking my car? The officers looked as baffled as I felt. One of them turned to her. Officer, ma'am, there are security cameras in this parking lot. Would you like us to review the footage to see who moved your car? That finally made her pause. She looked up at the security cameras, then at her car, then at mine. Woman, I don't think that will be necessary. But instead of backing down completely, she turned to me again. Woman, you should really paint your car a different color so this doesn't happen again. This is partly your fault for having a car that looks like mine. The officer sighed deeply. Officer, ma'am, you've damaged private property and attempted to take possession of a vehicle that isn't yours. The owner would be well within their rights to press charges. That's when her attitude completely changed. Suddenly, she was on the verge of tears. Woman, I made an honest mistake. Anyone could have done the same thing. I thought someone had stolen my parking spot. I was still processing the fact that her solution to thinking someone had taken her parking spot was to break a car window. The officers took her aside to talk privately. When they came back, they explained that she had agreed to pay for all damages to my car. They took her information and gave it to me for insurance purposes, along with a case number. As they were escorting her back to her actual car, she turned around and shouted at me. Woman, I hope you're happy. This is going to cost me a fortune because you wouldn't just let me take my car. The officers quickly ushered her away, and I heard one of them say they were going to make sure she got home safely, which I think was code for, we're going to make sure she doesn't damage anyone else's property today. My neighbor who had tried to help earlier came over. Neighbor, I've lived here for 10 years, and that's the craziest thing I've ever seen in this parking lot. Are you okay? I wasn't really okay. My car window was shattered, my things were thrown everywhere, and I was still shaking from the confrontation. But at least I had the whole thing on video, which I immediately backed up to the cloud just in case. The repair shop estimated the damage at over $400, which her insurance eventually covered after initial resistance. Apparently, she tried to claim that I had somehow tricked her into breaking my window. I now park on the complete opposite side of the parking lot, just to be safe, and I added a very distinctive bumper sticker to my car just in case she ever gets confused again. Some people just refuse to admit when they're wrong, even when all the evidence is right in front of them. Story 4. I've been working at this Italian restaurant downtown for about 3 years now. The pay is decent, the tips are good, and I generally enjoy my job. That is, until people like the woman I'm about to tell you about come in and make my shift a living nightmare. It was a busy Friday night, and I had been on my feet for 6 hours straight. My section was completely full, and I was juggling orders, refills, and the occasional complaint about wait times. Just as I thought things couldn't get more hectic, a woman walked in with what I assumed was her husband and 2 teenage kids. The hostess seated them in my section, and I plastered on my best customer service smile as I approached their table. Hi there. Welcome to Bella Not. My name is Sam, and I'll be your server tonight. Can I start you off with some drinks? The woman, let's just call her Karen, immediately gave me that look. You know the one. I'm about to make your life difficult look that servers dread. Karen, before we order anything, I need to inform you that I have a severe gluten allergy. I'm talking deathly allergic. Even cross-contamination could send me to the hospital. She emphasized severe, like she was auditioning for a medical drama. Her husband looked uncomfortable, and her kids were suddenly very interested in their phones. I completely understand. I'll make sure to note that on your order, and I'll speak directly with the chef to ensure there's no cross-contamination. Karen, and I'll need to speak to the manager too. Last time I ate at an Italian place, they nearly killed me with hidden gluten. I nodded and went to get my manager. When I told him about the situation, he sighed. He'd dealt with this kind of thing before, but he professionally went over to their table. My manager explained our allergy protocols, assured her that we take allergies very seriously, and promised that the chef would personally oversee her meal preparation. Karen seemed satisfied, but insisted on a completely new meal if there was even a hint of gluten contamination. When I returned to take their orders, Karen spent 10 minutes interrogating me about every ingredient in each dish. Finally, she settled on our most expensive pasta dish with modification, of course. Karen, I'll have the seafood linguine, but obviously with gluten-free pasta, and make sure they use separate pots and utensils. And the sauce needs to be made fresh, not from the batch that might have been contaminated. Her husband ordered lasagna, and her kids both got pizza. As I was writing down their orders, Karen added, "Karen, and we won't be paying for my meal if it causes any reaction whatsoever." I just nodded and took their orders to the kitchen. Our chef wasn't thrilled about the special accommodations during rush hour, but he understood the seriousness of food allergies. He personally prepared Karen's gluten-free seafood pasta, using separate cookware and utensils as requested. When I brought out their food, Karen inspected her dish like she was searching for evidence at a crime scene. She took a tentative bite, then another, and nodded grudgingly. "Karen, it'll do." The rest of their meal seemed to go fine. I checked on them regularly, refilled drinks, and they appeared to be enjoying their food. I was just starting to think I dodged a bullet when I noticed Karen's husband get up to use the restroom. As soon as he was out of sight, something strange happened. Karen reached across the table, grabbed a piece of her son's garlic bread, which is definitely not gluten-free, and took a huge bite. I froze in my tracks. Did I just see what I thought I saw? The woman who had just spent 20 minutes lecturing us about her deathly gluten allergy was now chomping down on regular garlic bread like it was nothing. I wasn't the only one who noticed. My manager had been walking by and stopped dead in his tracks, watching as Karen took another bite of the bread. Her kids didn't even look surprised, they just kept eating their pizza, completely unfazed. When Karen's husband returned from the bathroom, she quickly wiped her mouth and pushed the remaining bread back toward her son's plate. But it was too late. Both my manager and I had seen everything. My manager approached their table with me trailing behind him. "Manager, excuse me, ma'am. Is everything all right with your meal?" Karen, "Yes, it's fine. Though I still think the sauce could use more seasoning." Manager, "I couldn't help but notice that you were eating the regular garlic bread just now. The one with gluten." Karen's face went through several expressions in rapid succession: surprise, guilt, anger, and finally indignation. Karen, "I most certainly was not." Her son, looking embarrassed, spoke up. "Son, Mom, they saw you. Just stop." Karen, "Be quiet. I did no such thing." Manager, "Ma'am, both my server and I clearly saw you eating the garlic bread. The same bread you were informed contains gluten. The bread that, according to you, could send you to the hospital." Karen's husband put his face in his hands, looking mortified. Husband, "Not again." Karen, "Not again." Karen, "How dare you accuse me of lying? I want to speak to the owner. I'll have both your jobs for this." Manager, "Actually, I am the owner. And given that you've clearly misrepresented your medical condition to obtain special preparation of your food and potentially to avoid paying for your meal, I'm going to have to ask you to leave after settling your bill in full." Karen's face turned bright red. Karen, "This is outrageous. I'm never coming back here again." Manager, "That would probably be best for everyone involved." Karen's husband reached for his wallet, his face a mask of embarrassment. Husband, "I am so sorry about this. Please let me pay for everything." He handed over his credit card while Karen fumed. Their teenage daughter looked like she wanted to disappear into her chair. Daughter, "Mom, this is the third restaurant this month. Can we please just eat normally somewhere?" That's when it clicked for me. This wasn't just a one-time scam. This woman had been pulling this stunt at different restaurants, probably hoping to get free meals by claiming the food triggered her allergy. After they paid and the husband left a very generous tip with an apologetic note, they left. Karen stormed out first, husband trailing behind looking defeated, and the kids slinking out with expressions of pure mortification. My manager turned to me once they were gone. Manager, "Well, that was something. Good catch, by the way." Me, "Thanks. I guess she forgot about her deathly allergy when that garlic bread looked too good to resist." We had a good laugh about it, and the rest of the night went smoothly. But seriously, who fakes a potentially deadly allergy just to try to get free food? The audacity of some people never ceases to amaze me. The cherry on top, Karen left a scathing 1-star review online claiming we don't take allergies seriously and that we harassed her during her meal. Thankfully, my manager responded with the truth, and other customers who witnessed the whole scene added their comments, backing us up. Some people just can't help but try to cheat the system, even when it makes them look completely ridiculous in the process.